And welcome back to another episode of the Ball Watchers podcast. I am your host, Evan Bloost, alongside my co-host Joseph Muto. Joseph, how are you doing today? Doing good? I mean, we're on another we're a day late, I guess is how you can put it.
Yes.
Not sure what happened, but we're here. We've got busy schedules. It's
Mm-hmm.
reading week. We've got things on the go, so
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is, but we're here today, ready to recap week 10, preview week 11. You ready, Joseph?
Let's do it.
All right, let's kick it off with the recap here. The Colts, they sneak past the Falcons in overtime in Berlin. Very weird game, Joseph. The Colts have 500 yards of total offense,
Oh,
and it
correct.
still goes to overtime.
Yeah, it was a crazy game by the Colts. I absolutely loved what I saw from them offensively, and Jonathan Taylor's going to get the highlights and the praises for like 250 plus total yards of offense in this game with those three touchdowns. But at the same time, I thought Daniel Jones played a terrific game. I really only thought that one fumble that he had on that sack was really the only blemish on this game. I mean, he threw an interception, but with only 2 seconds left before until halftime, so nothing crazy there. But like the deep shot to Alec Pierce to throw that into double coverage and then just to put it on the money is absolutely crazy. And then the pivotal point on that fourth down conversion to Tyler Warren, Daniel Jones puts it on a needle, gets him into field goal range, and then they can go into overtime. And then Jonathan Taylor takes care of the rest. So this is just complimentary football. Shane Steichen is, you know, I would say like calling great plays, but it's very simple football. It reminded me a lot of like the late 2010 Tennessee Titans, where you just give it to Derrick Henry and then Ryan Tannehill is play actioning off of it and giving it to AJ Brown. And so that's the exact same thing we're seeing with Daniel Jones. He had a brutal campaign in New York. He comes into Indianapolis and it's just simple football. He's getting the fundamentals down. He has a safety blanket in Tyler Warren, who I think has been impeccable as a rookie tight end. It's just complimentary football. I love it. The defense is creating turnovers as well, and so you love to see it. So the Colts are for real. I think that yes, this was a close game against not a great team in the Atlanta Falcons, but you just saw every single Indianapolis Colt on offense and on defense have great games and just make some big time plays. So I'm not concerned about this team at all, and I really love the Colts this year.
Yeah, this is I mean, it's one of those games where it's it's just weird. I mean, this should not have been a close game, and yet it was. But at the same time, this Colts team is good, and they took care of business when they needed to. They were able to come back with that 2 minute drill. You get it done in overtime. I'm a little concerned personally about the Daniel Jones turnovers. I mean, that Steelers game, he had five. He had two today, but at the same time, you're 1-1 over a span where Daniel Jones has seven turnovers. Like that's not bad. You're a good team, and I mean compliment to the defense as well. I mean they hold Michael Penix to under 200 passing yards. Bijan Robinson doesn't top 84 yards rushing, so it's one of those things where it works out for in their favor in the end. And I mean they should have won this game. Like Jonathan Taylor had an absolutely ridiculous game going over 250 yards, and like the offense in general, they put up the points they need to put up. I think it was just one of those weird games where just how things turned out made this game really close, just situational football kind of things. But at the end of the day, the Colts were the better team. They got it done, and the numbers speak louder maybe than the final score in this one. And I think that, yeah, you still see the Colts as one of the best teams in the league here.
Falcons, I don't understand what's going on. Like you have a great offensive performance by Michael Penix and Drake London, who, by the way, completely cooks Sauce Gardner. I'll give him grace because like to go into Berlin on like such a short week,
Yeah,
but
learning a new playbook
yeah,
in
that's
2 days.
wild. But he absolutely got cooked
I
all
can't believe
game.
he played.
Yeah, I'm shocked, dude. But we'll see how he is next week. But yeah, I don't understand this Falcons team. Like you bring in Raheem Morris, who's a defensive guy, and you just don't see any defense whatsoever. And you put a ton of draft capital into that this year. You put a ton of free agent signings over the last couple of years, like Jesse Bates and guys like that, and just nothing has worked. So I don't know what's going on with the Falcons. This might be a bad team for a very long time because they just drafted Penix and he's played okay, but it's not like you have any promise saying, yeah, this is our franchise guy going forward. And so they're caught between a rock and a hard place and in no man's land, in my opinion. So that's the worst place to be in the NFL, but that's where they're at right now.
Yeah, and the issue for me too with the Falcons is it's just like we haven't really seen it come together from like a scheme perspective for the Falcons here, and I think that like Michael Penix and just young quarterbacks in general, you need the offensive scheme to be complementary to you in order to like put up those good seasons. And Penix, like he's a guy who you need to have those plays where he airs it out, and the Falcons just aren't a team that really throws deep that often. Like Drake London is not really a deep threat. He's a really good possession receiver. He's a great contested catch guy, but like you're not seeing him necessarily being used down the field a lot. You're not seeing Penix throw to like guys like Darnell Mooney deep down the field. So it's one of those things where the offense just doesn't feel cohesive and like using the sum of their parts to the max here. I mean, obviously Bijan Robinson gets a ton of touches and deservedly so, but it hasn't translated to wins in the way you would have expected. And I think that that's another thing they need to consider is potentially just finding an offense that works a bit better for Penix because I think that you're missing out on some of his big skills there with not pushing the ball deep when he can. All right, next game here is the New England Patriots who take down the Buccaneers in Florida. They're just checking off all the right boxes, Joseph.
Yeah, man. 6 game win streak right now. It's absolutely insane what they're doing, and I love it. I think the turning point in this game was obviously that touchdown catch by Stephon Diggs. It's fourth down, 2 seconds to go. Dable's at like Vrabel is like at the Buccaneers 3 yard line, and he's like, you know what? Screw the points. We're not gonna kick the field goal. We're gonna go for the touchdown, and they. Drake May puts it in a beautiful place that only Diggs can go up and grab it,
Insane catch.
and it was a crazy catch by Diggs to get both feet down. I think he got 3 feet down, which is absolutely crazy by him. And so I just love what this team is doing. I mean, Drake May went completely crazy in the first half, and then Travion Henderson went off for some big time runs in the second half. And when that's the case, when they can get into big time leads early in the game and then completely tear you down with the rushing attack, it's unstoppable. So this is one of the best offenses in the league because they have the best quarterback in the league and they have one of the best home run hitting running backs in the entire NFL in Travion Henderson already. So I absolutely love it. I think the defense played okay, but they were going up against an incredible offense, and Baker Mayfield is an elite quarterback in his own right. So you can't take too much away from that defense, but at the same time, like the Patriots are for real. I think they're unstoppable. Drake May is just he's incredible. He should be the favorite for MVP. I think he is the favorite for MVP right now.
Stafford, or him or Stafford, depending on where you look. I was
Yeah.
looking into this today.
It should be JT, man. I don't understand it. And he's not going to win because if Barkley didn't win last year, then no one's going to win, in my opinion. But it should be Jonathan Taylor. But, anyways, Drake May's playing incredible, and the Patriots are for real. So they're 8-2 right now. The Bills lost, which we'll get to in a little bit. So this is a huge 2 game lead in the division with them already beating the matchup that they beat the Bills in week 5 on Sunday Night Football. So, yeah, the Patriots are looking seriously contenders, and they're tied with the Colts with an 8-2 record. So we're gonna see how it goes. But the Patriots might be the best team in the AFC, and they have the best quarterback in the league. So this could be a deep, deep playoff push for this team.
Yeah, and I mean offensively for the Patriots too, seeing that run game finally contribute is huge. I think Travion Henderson should, I hope, get a lot more touches going forward because he's clearly the most explosive playmaker kind of player in that running back room that they have. Like Ramondre Stevenson is kind of just that bruiser. He's good on those short yardage situations, but he's not a guy who's really going to create a big play for you the way that we saw Travion Henderson, who had 2 huge runs in this game. So I think that Henderson has kind of cemented himself as a bell cow back in this role. And I think that the Patriots having a bit more of a run game is just going to take a bit more of the pressure off Drake May, make this team a bit more balanced going forward because that offensive line it's full of young guys, and I think that it's just going to continue to get better as these guys get more and more experience. Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, the center. So, like, I don't know, this run game coming along makes like Drake May's life that much easier, and he's already playing at that MVP level. But just having that run game, I think, puts this team into that top level of teams.
Buccaneers, it's really tough to gauge this team because they're so depleted with injuries. I thought this game specifically, they really missed Bucky Irving. They were not able to run the football at all. I think like Sean Tucker is getting a lot more carries, I think,
He
than
looks like a
Rashawn White.
fullback, man.
Yeah, like I don't understand why that guy's getting the ball, but outside of Baker and Egbuka and maybe Tez Johnson on a couple plays, there's really nowhere to go with the football for Baker. And Baker's doing the most with what he can. And even against an elite corner and Christian Gonzalez, Egbuka still got his and went for crazy yardage and got a touchdown in this game. But it's just tough. So I think the Buccaneers are still going to win the division, obviously, because it's a very easy division. And I still think that they might win a playoff game because the NFC, to me, is a lot weaker than the AFC. But at the same time, like, I don't expect major things from the Buccaneers. So I love the season that Baker's putting for himself, but they can't just do anything because this team is not deep at all. They only have a couple elite players on this entire squad, offensively and defensively, and it's tough to win football games when you go up against teams like the Patriots or the Eagles and the Lions in the NFC, and you're like, yeah, we only have Baker, and it's really hard to combat that when you're going up against such stiffer competition down the stretch.
Yeah, and I mean they just need to find other pass catchers to take the load off because even in this game, Egbuka had 6 catches, I think, and 13 targets. Like that is not a rate that is something you really want to see. Like, yes, it's good that he got yards, but that also means that there's so many empty uh, downs, empty passes where Egbuka is getting targeted, but he's not getting the ball, getting yards. So they need to get someone like Tez Johnson more involved. He had 2 touchdowns in the game, but I think that just spreading that ball out a bit more, like Baker can't just focus on Egbuka right now because it's not working. Like the thing with the Bucks in the past is you had Mike Evans as this deep threat, but you had other targets like a Chris Godwin in the past who was that dangerous underneath receiver where you couldn't like target or put all of your guys focus onto Mike Evans, and they just don't have a guy who is taking away some of that attention from Egbuka right now, and it's really hurting their offense overall. And I mean, also not being able to run the ball, Joseph, is tough just because you sit those guys back in coverage. It makes it that much easier. And then on the defensive side for the Bucks right now, like they are such a feast or famine defense. Like up the middle for them is so good, and it's so good against those inside runs. But at the same time, their secondary is really weak right now, and they give up a ton of huge plays. And it feels like if you can get past that defensive line, you can make some big plays here because we saw that today with those 2 huge runs from Henderson. You've seen that in past games. I mean, the Eagles had some huge plays against them a few weeks ago. So it's just, it's really feast or famine, and that's not sustainable, and that's not something you look for, or that's not something that a good team does. So that's also a concern for me. This Bucks team is very much standing on a precipice right now where they could fall very far down the rankings here in my opinion. I think that they're 6-3 right now, but they're not playing great football at the moment. All right, next game here. The Bills. You know, they beat the Chiefs last week, I think, and then this week they come out and they lose to the Dolphins, Joseph.
Yeah, it's these damn turnovers that are killing Josh
Yep.
Allen. It's been the storyline for his entire career, and sometimes it just bites him in the ass, and it bit him in the ass big time against a team who is absolutely in shambles right now from the bottom up. And you needed to win this game because you have to keep up with the Patriots, and you just failed to do that. These are must-win games for, the Buffalo Bills here because of the Patriots, and they're just not living up to the hype. I mean, you come off a great win against the Kansas City Chiefs, and then all of a sudden your Bills play great against Patrick Mahomes, and they absolutely shit themselves against Tua in this run game. Like, I genuinely don't understand it. Like, Josh Allen drove all the way down the field. Then he turns the football over in the end zone with that brutal interception. They come right back and they fight off a huge Devon Achane rush for a touchdown, like for 50 yards or something like that. Like, that cannot happen. How is that possible against a team like the Dolphins who have basically done nothing? Like, you give up the Jalen Waddle touchdown, which was huge, a great throw by Tua, but also like double coverage and two guys can't really see the ball. So I just don't understand what the Bills are trying to accomplish here. Their defense is absolutely brutal. It's been brutal all year, besides last week against the Chiefs. Sean McDermott's there for a reason to get this defense right, even with the lack of talent on the defensive side of the football. And then offensively, Josh Allen is just trying to do it all by himself yet again. So these are the tendencies we continue to see from Allen, and it's getting to a point where we've seen this movie before, and we've seen it for the last what, like six like 6 to 8 years. Like, I don't understand why people hype up the Bills so much. Oh, they're the Super Bowl favorites, and then we keep seeing it again and again and again. And now it's even amplified because the Patriots are so good. The Bills might not win their division. I think we're seeing the Bills like Super Bowl window close right before our eyes. I know it's just maybe one game against the Dolphins, and the Dolphins play really well at home, but at the same time, if we're seeing the ascension of the New England Patriots and we're seeing games like this against the Buffalo Bills, we have no choice but to question this team. So I'm seriously starting to sound the alarms off on this team. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Bills, and if they don't win their division, it's going to be really, really tough to accomplish what they wanted to prior to this year.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you've never liked anything you've seen from this Bills team, but yeah, it is concerning. It's a huge consistency issue. I mean, they're a team who they're kind of like the Packers, in my opinion, where they really play down to their competition a lot of the time. I mean, you saw earlier in the season that game where they barely beat the Saints, or it was a very close game until the end at least. And then, yeah, you beat the Chiefs. It's just there's no consistency. You're not seeing a huge, fantastic defensive performance every week. I thought in that Chiefs game, their rookie corner who finally was playing for them, coming back from injury, Maxwell Hairston was great in that Chiefs game, and then you let up these huge runs, big passes to the Dolphins, and it's just like inconsistency across the board, defensively, offensively, and I think that we've seen the last couple of years, Josh Allen has really decreased his turnover numbers, especially the prior two seasons to this one. And then, I mean, generally this season he's been fine with that, but just in this game, they were not able to kind of mitigate those turnovers. They happen at really bad times, and it was just kind of a cascading effect where Allen had bad turnovers, but then the defense let up these huge plays, and they just could never get back into this game. And what I really liked about that Chiefs game was that run after catch committee offense that we've seen from the Bills in the past, but I just feel like it's not consistently what we're seeing from the Bills. And I think that's what works for them is scheming these guys open on those under routes and just letting them get yards after the catch there. And we haven't seen that. And then we haven't seen the defense hold up consistently. So I'm worried about the Bills. I think we were right not to put them in the top 5 last week, even after a huge win over Kansas City. But we got to see them really improve because at this point, if they don't like, they need to win an extra game on top of the Patriots going forward, plus beat them head to head. So it's a tall task with only a few game or with only what 7 games left in the season here. So it's going to be a tough ask for them, but I mean, we're gonna have to see what they're made of down the stretch here because yeah, they're gonna be chasing the Patriots until the end of the season.
That's what did it for me, man. You got the first down, and then Josh Allen is like carrying 5 defenders on his back for 20 yards, and then he fumbles the football. It's like,
Oh yeah, that was
oh,
brutal,
that was
man. How
ridiculous.
did
Like,
you
go
turn that
down.
over?
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. It's like he got like 5 or 6 yards, and then he still continues to go, and he got like 20
Well,
on like a
even
third and one.
even if you still go, just put two hands on the football.
Yeah,
Like, where's your other hand?
holy.
What's going on there? I think
Yeah,
too,
brutal.
it's like the rain was definitely a factor in this game. Like it was pouring rain, and we have seen that in the past kind of be an equalizer, if you will, to some very lopsided games. I think back to San Francisco versus the Bears a couple years ago, where
Mhm.
the wet conditions can really even the playing field, but at the same time, like this wasn't even a close game. Like this should have at least been a close game. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see more from the Bills going forward, but let's move on here, Joseph, to the next game. The Los Angeles Chargers. They defeat a Steelers team that was coming off a huge win against the Colts.
Yeah, this is. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. You know what? I thought the defense played pretty good, all things considered, especially what they've put on paper the first 7 weeks of the year. They come back against Indianapolis, they get a ton of turnovers, and this week I think they, held Justin Herbert under wraps for the most part. I mean, there were a couple big plays by Lad McConkey, one being that 54-yard completion, and then the other one being his touchdown in the first half. But other than that, like everyone was shut down. I didn't think Herbert had anywhere to go with the football, but it's just this offense. I don't really understand what Aaron Rodgers is trying to accomplish with what he's trying to do on the football field. And Arthur Smith is a guy who I'm really questioning at this point because Jalen Warren to me was your only explosive player. He's probably your best offensive player at this point, and he had a ton of yards. Like Evan is spot on the money when he talks about Jalen Warren. Like every time he touches the ball, it's like he's a bowling ball, and he always gets 5 yards, even when he's down dead to rights. Like he never goes for negative plays. He's always moving forward, and you saw that again in this game. He's just piling on LA Charger defenders and just put him on his back and saying, "Let's go for a ride." But Kenneth Gainwell got more snaps than Jalen Warren in this game, and I'm thinking to myself, like, why? What is the point of Kenneth Gainwell? Like, okay, maybe if your rookie running back that you took in the third round is getting snaps, he only had four in this game. I genuinely don't understand what Arthur Smith is trying to do. And then the passing attack is absolutely stupid. Jim Harbaugh had a great scheme where they kept Aaron Rodgers in the pocket. Tui Pelotu had an incredible game against Broderick Jones. Him and these edge rushers did not break their contain, did not allow Aaron Rodgers to make throws on the run. They kept him in the pocket. And because of that, Aaron Rodgers is now a better thrower on the run than he is in the pocket. He looks stupid in the pocket. Like he overthrew so many guys. That one, you know, miss that he had to Jonnu Smith where we thought he caught the football, they reviewed it, it was incomplete. That is an extremely high ball, and all the throws that Aaron Rodgers made were so high. And so a lot of the blame has to go on Aaron Rodgers for not adjusting. He's a one trick pony, and he proved that in this game where he's trying to make the magical throw on the run and all this stuff. But it's just tough. And I understand that DK Metcalf is your only pass catcher, and Calvin Austin had a brutal interception that went, brutal drop that went for an interception to Dory Jackson. But or Dante Jackson, excuse me. It's just tough. I don't know what to do with this team. Jalen Warren is the only guy who wants to play on offense. Rogers has nowhere to go with the football. It's just a brutal look. So I'm done with the Steelers. They're 5-4. The Ravens are so hot right now. They're on a 3-game winning streak. I don't see how we beat the Ravens twice or even once in this NFL season. And so because of that, I think we're going to lose out on the division and probably lose out on the playoffs again. And it's time for a culture reset. I've been calling for it for a couple weeks now, and I think it's time.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes back to the offseason. Like, it's such a questionable move where you trade for DK Metcalf. You're like, okay, we have two outside receivers in Pickens and Metcalf. And then you go ahead a week or two later and you trade George Pickens. And it's like, what the hell was the point of trading for DK Metcalf? You already had George Pickens. You might as well have just kept George Pickens. Like it goes back to that because you're in this scenario where if Rodgers can't consistently get to the ball to Metcalf, the Steelers have no passing game. And their run game is okay, but you need to be able to throw the ball in situations, and they're so inconsistent with that. And then you see what happens here. They score 10 points, and it was really more like 3 points because that last score was a complete garbage time score. 2 minutes left in the game. Doesn't matter at all. So, yeah, it's just this Steelers team is the same as usual, except their defense is worse. Like, their offense is slightly better, their defense is slightly worse, but it's adding up to the same conclusion here. So, yeah, like they are in control of their division at the moment because their division is so terrible. But like you said, Joseph, this Ravens team is creeping up, breathing down their neck. Even Cincinnati is somehow still in the mix here. So, like, it's insane to say that. But yeah, this Steelers team just does not feel complete in any way. Their defense is not bailing them out like they have in the past, and their offense is just so inconsistent you can't trust them game to game. So I don't really know what to think about them. I'm really impressed with this Chargers team, though. I thought this was a fantastic win from a team who looked completely lost without Joe Alt earlier in the season. They saw this on TikTok, but they became the team they excuse me. Oh my god. Justin Herbert had the fastest time to throw in the league this week. And that's what you need to do when you don't have your tackles. And look what they did. So I think that they're adapting. They figured it out, and I feel like there's definitely going to be some brutal games where Justin Herbert's just under a ton of pressure and they lose. But at the same time, like Justin Herbert is playing the best football of his career right now. This defense is still fantastic. Like I'm still super high on this Chargers team, even without Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater.
Strange team too, because all you need is Justin Herbert. They've been completely depleted. They don't have a ton of big time names on the defensive side of the ball, but they just play good football. And I think Lad McConkey is back in a big time way. And Quentin Johnston sort of took a back seat as the number one wide receiver and gave it to McConkey in the second half. And I just love what he's been able to do. Yards after catch, making some big time catches in the slot. He's just been an absolute animal, what we saw from his rookie year last year. So I love him, and yeah, it's gonna be tough for the Chargers because they are probably in one of the best divisions in all football in the AFC West when you combine the Broncos and the Chiefs. I mean, the Broncos are in the driver's seat right now at an 8-2 record, but at the same time, the Chargers can get there really easily at 7-3. So I like it. I like the Chargers this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the playoffs because they will at least get a wild card spot, in my opinion, probably the 5 seed, if not get home field advantage in the wild card round. But we'll see, man. I like Herbert. I trust him a lot. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. But for now, he's, keeping the ship upright, and you just love to see it from the Chargers. They're a well coached football team, and it really shows every Sunday.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the one thing that's nice too, the Broncos and the Chargers are both great records right now. Chiefs might not even make the playoffs, man.
It's
You
crazy.
love to see it. All right, last game here, sticking in the AFC. The Ravens take over and they beat the Vikings with a strong second half. They are looking like a completely different team the last few weeks.
Yeah. Was just he's back, and I think that makes a huge difference to your culture. I think the defense is back. Like I don't know what happened after that bye week, but they've just completely
Kyle
flipped a
Hamilton,
switch.
man, he's playing in
Yeah,
the box.
he's playing in the box and he's just making some big time plays. So the defense is looking good. You would love to see Derrick Henry get more involved. I think he's been getting yards, but they've been a lot quieter than you would anticipate from Derrick Henry. He's such a weapon, and I don't think it's age that's deteriorating him. I just think opportunities. And so you want to see him get the football more. I'd like to see that. But other than that, Lamar Jackson is just playing out of his mind. Like to me, he's undoubtedly the best quarterback in the entire NFL because he's been consistent throughout his entire career. And yes, Patrick Mahomes has the wins, and we we'll put Mahomes in GOAT conversations, but like consistency, good football, talent wise, Lamar Jackson to me is the complete package, and he's shown that over the last 3 weeks. So he went up against a really good Vikings team who were riding high off the Lions win. JJ McCarthy didn't know where to go with the
Came back
football.
to earth.
Yeah, he he completely came back to earth. He was under a ton of pressure in this game. And then on the other side, like Brian Flores can only do so much because Lamar Jackson is a Swiss Army knife and can beat you in so many ways. He proved that in this game. And as long as you have Lamar Jackson, you are in the mix. So this is a team that can, to me, is the heavy favorite to win the AFC North. They are going to get a home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, in my opinion, and just let's see what's going from there because the Bills are looking down and the Chiefs are looking down. I mean, if you're taking Ravens or Colts, I would honestly probably take the Ravens because they have more experience and they've been here before. And I would probably take them over the Patriots too. So if they can keep this consistency, this might be a Super Bowl run for the Ravens. And I know that's crazy because they have a losing record right now, but with the odds in their favor and the cards falling where they may, this is a team that can really, really probably make the Super Bowl and probably one of the best teams in the AFC right now.
I mean, it's wide open, and depending on what happens, like they could shoot up the rankings. Like if they win their division, they're playing a wild card team, and I think that most of the AFC wild card teams, you're pretty confident they can beat. So they're in a really good spot. I mean, you're only a game behind the Steelers right now, and you still play them twice this season. Like they are in prime position to take over that AFC North champion banner here this season. So yeah, I really love what you've seen from the Ravens. I mean, that second half especially, I really liked what I saw from them in the second half especially. Like they were giving Derrick Henry the ball a ton. He was getting yards, and I like that they used some other running backs. Not that, like you said, it's not that Derrick Henry needs a snap count, but you saw Keaton Mitchell break off a huge run, and I think that you just want to see the Ravens use that run game because that is their strength, and it having that strong run game just allows Lamar to be so surgical in the pass game and have no restrictions. So I think that you need to see that run game get going, whether that is with Derrick Henry, whether that is with Keaton Mitchell, and then it's just finishing drives. I mean, John Harbaugh is definitely one of the more conservative coaches, and we kind of saw that in this game where, I mean, there was what 4th and 1 from like the 5, and he kicks a field goal. Like that's not something that happens in the NFL very often anymore. And it's like short field goals. The other one was a bit more understandable. It was like 4th and 5 or 4th and 7, but you gotta have a bit more balls. So I want to see them finish a few more drives here, but we've seen some great things from this Ravens team over the last few weeks. I'm really impressed with their defense too. Like the fact that you're seeing Marlon Humphrey make plays again. You're seeing the rookie Malachi Starks had an interception in this game. Like you need that Ravens defense to be back to the level it was the last couple years, and we're kind of seeing that in the last few weeks. So I mean, their schedule has definitely gotten a lot lighter. There was an absolutely brutal schedule out of the gate there, but they look great, and I think you're 100% right, Joseph. They are going, especially if they can turn this around, make the playoffs. They are dangerous.
Yeah. And for the Vikings, I think like last year, I think we all got caught up in this, but we just gave so much credit to Kevin O'Connell, and we had didn't give any credit to Sam Darnold, like at all. We just thought he was a product of his environment, and that's why he was succeeding. And we thought JJ was going to do the same thing, but Sam Darnold is a veteran, and he's an MVP candidate for a Seattle Seahawks team who, I mean, doesn't have as good of an offense, in my opinion, as the Minnesota Vikings do, skill position players wise. But like
Damn close.
it's close for sure. But I just think the Vikings have a better run game and a better wide receiver too. That's all. But like JJ is just he's working out the kinks. You can see it. He had a ton of pressure in his face all game. He's making silly throws. That interception to Malachi Starks, like you said, just an errant pass, and I don't know. As if you're a Vikings fan, you're coming off such a high last year because you came off of like a 14-3 record or something crazy like that. And now you're going into this year thinking you were a Super Bowl contender, and all of a sudden, you're back down to earth and you're sort of middle in the pack and you're still trying to work out the kinks. So you're still trying to see if JJ's the guy. I don't know if he is. That's like too early in advance to ask that question yet, but you're going to learn it probably by the end of this year, if not the start of next year, and see what happens from there. That offensive line has to get right. That offensive line is brutal. I don't know how it went for so bad for so long. Like, we all thought Sam Darnold was the guy to blame for that Rams loss in the playoffs, but that offensive line has continually been bad for the entirety of the year, and JJ's had pressure all in his face. So that has to be addressed, and then you can truly evaluate McCarthy as your franchise quarterback. But the Vikings are just in a weird position. So stay patient, Vikings fans. I don't know what the future holds, but I think they'll know very, very soon here.
Yeah, and I mean, part of the issue for me as well is the fact that like this defense is not even close to looking like they did last year, and that is a huge concern as well. Like this Vikings team would have at least one or two more wins, in my opinion, if their defense was anywhere close to as good as it was last year, and we're just not seeing that at all. Like they lost some really key pieces like Cam Bynum in the offseason, but you also spent a ton of money on guys like Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave up the middle of that defense, and it doesn't feel like it's made. I mean, it has gotten worse. Like objectively it has gotten worse, and that does not help the fact that JJ McCarthy is learning right now. He does not have a strong defense that he can rely on to win him games right now, and I think that that's part of the issue. I think you're totally right as well about the Kevin O'Connell thing. Part of the issue is like JJ McCarthy is not the Sam Darnold prototype of quarterback. Like Sam Darnold's issue was he was super accurate but panicky. So you put him in a system where it's laid out in front of him. He knows where he has to go with the football. It works because he can hit those guys. But JJ McCarthy is just not a guy. He's not accurate in that same way. And I think that that's where there's a ton of issues that they're dealing with right now. It's just the accuracy. And it was the same thing with Carson Wentz. He's not an accurate quarterback either. And I think that the biggest thing in those systems is the guys are open, you have to hit them. And you were just not seeing that from these Vikings quarterbacks right now. And the defense is not helping them out at all. All right, let's move into our week 11 preview here, starting with Thursday Night Football, Jets, Patriots. Speaking of Thursday Night Football, though, I gotta say, man, it was a brutal week of primetime games last week. We gotta do something about that NFL. I honestly think Thursday Night Football should be abolished. It's never
Yeah,
good.
it's. I think like well, at least like three-quarters of them have been division games. And they're trying to get rivalries and stuff, but it's just like division games are so defensive and like there's not a lot of points being scored and these teams know each other already and it's just it kind of sucks.
And the
Like
teams are exhausted. Like
yeah.
you only have 4 days to prepare. Like you are not ready. Usually Thursday's your last day of practice, and then you have 2 more days before you play. And it's like,
Mhm.
no, you're playing on Thursday. Like these teams are also exhausted.
You think they should switch it to Friday? And I know that's tough because high school football in the States on Friday is crazy.
Fuck it. Put it on Saturday, man. Who cares? Like,
Damn.
honestly, the NFL, if the NFL is as powerful as they think they are, put it on Saturday.
That would be crazy.
I mean, there would be a lot of pushback, I think, but it's like, I mean, half the time the most anticipated college football games of the year are at like 2 p.m. anyways. It's like it
Mhm.
doesn't like it interferes with a few games and it's like maybe you don't do Saturday night football during the college football playoffs and bowl season, but like I mean, I would put it on Saturday personally or just
Wow.
get rid of it altogether. Like
Wow.
most of those games aren't primetime worthy games anyways. Like I don't
Mhm.
need another primetime game.
Yeah. And that's tough to get rid of primetime games because the revenue stream they get is
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
What about Tuesday? Just put it at the end of the week. Like
Yeah.
week 10 ends on Tuesday. Because then
That'd be
at least
crazy.
you still have like more time before Sunday. Like you
Mhm.
would have more time during the week.
Yeah.
It's not maybe the greatest, but you're still getting more rest. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Decisions, decisions. The NFL has to do something because even the players and the coaches they hate it. So, and the fans are starting to hate it too. So, what's the point?
Yeah.
But
Or if you're
anyway,
going to do Thursday night football, make Thursday night football international games. Give teams a bye the week before they play Thursday night football to go international, and then you fly back Friday. You still have more than enough time to get rid of jet lag before you would have theoretically played on Sunday, and then you still have a full week of practice. Kill two birds with one stone.
that-
That actually is a good idea.
that's a
I
good
just thought of
idea.
that. Okay.
That's
Roger
perfect.
Goodell, hit us up. We've solved your
Yeah,
problems.
all right. I'm taking the Patriots in this game. I There's no chance for the Jets. They had a great win against the Browns, two special teams touchdowns. They went crazy, but that's not happening against the Patriots. Even Vrabel's special teams team is incredible. So they're gonna shut every facet down for the New York Jets. It's Tyrod Taylor starting, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, the Jets are still in shambles. They're in a complete rebuild. They should look to lose this game. It's coming off a short week. They're probably tired. So just give Drake May the win. This is the more complete team, and this should be an easy Thursday night football win for the Patriots.
Yeah, I've got the Patriots as well. I do want to thank the Jets defense and special teams for helping me out in fantasy last week, but yeah, they're it's not a good team. It's not a good offense regardless of their defense. Like the Patriots are just going to completely like stifle this Jets offense. It's going to be a low scoring game on the Jets side and I think that yeah, Drake May this running game's going to get going in this game as well and I think that the Patriots are just going to be able to run it up on the Jets and the Jets are just not going to be able to answer. I mean, yeah, even in that Browns game, they got lucky with two special teams plays to get the win here, but it's not like it was some fantastic, powerful offensive performance. Like you saw the other aspects of the football game really help them out there. So that's not happening against the Patriots. Drake May and the Patriots keep rolling. All right, next game here, Joseph. Let's move to Madrid. 7:30 a.m. on Sunday. Commanders Dolphins.
I think the Dolphins are going to pop a squat in, in Madrid. They're coming off a win against Miami, but they play so good at home all the time. They're going to have to travel. They're going to be super tired. International games and Tua are not friends. I just think that they're going to be fatigued, and I think the Commanders, yes, they don't have Jaden Daniels, but they are a better coach team in my opinion, and I think that they have enough guys to shut down Miami's offense, and then I think Mariota can find ways to get his receivers open and use his legs against this terrible defense. So give me the Commanders in this game. I know the Dolphins have the better offense, but I just don't trust them going on an international stage and trying to win after they came off a big time win at home.
Yeah, I've got the Dolphins in this one. I just think both of these defenses are absolute trash. It's going to be a high scoring affair, so at least the people of Madrid get to see a bit of a explosive game, but I don't know, man. I just think I the Dolphins are going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to get more big plays. I trust the Dolphins defense for whatever reason slightly more to get a stop, but both teams I think are just going to run it up. There's going to be a lot of running in this game, I think from both teams because neither team really trusts their quarterback, but I just trust the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel to put up a few more points in this game. it's going to be close. This is another kind of toss-up game. I mean, this game means nothing, but it's still hard to pick a winner. All right, next up, we've got the Bills and the Buccaneers, two teams who, again, are kind of in a similar boat here,
These two teams got 4 losses last week.
and
I'm
also are kind of floating in the middle of nowhere in the
yeah,
football realm at the moment.
yeah, Buccaneers. I just think that Baker Mayfield is going to, kill the Buffalo Bills defense. And I think that the defense is slightly better for the Buccaneers just because that they can create essential turnovers that can swing this game. And Josh Allen is prone to those turnovers. And then offensively, I think Baker Mayfield is playing better quarterback than Josh Allen right now. And I just trusted Emeka Egbuka to get open against this Bills secondary. So I trust him to go off for a big game. I think those two guys are more consistent than what the Bills have to offer offensively. I think James Cook is going to get completely shut down by Vita Vea in the middle of this run defense. And so when that happens, Josh Allen has to drop back a little bit more susceptible to those interceptions, like I said. So give me the Buccaneers. I think they're going to win the turnover battle, and that's why they're going to win this game.
Yeah, I've got the Bills. I think that there's a few reasons. One, I'm going to take the better quarterback, in my opinion, is Josh Allen, just overall. Baker has been playing cleaner football as of late, but Josh Allen just has that next level, like do it with the legs, do it through the air, gunslinger mentality. I think that the Bills also have the two best players on offense in James Cook and Josh Allen in this game at the moment. Obviously, Baker Mayfield is probably number two, but Josh Allen, James Cook are your two best playmakers in this game. And then these defenses are very similar, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the players that I think are better in this game because it's a really tough one for me. These are two very similar teams in the way they've been playing lately, but the other thing is the Bills need this game a lot more than the Bucks do. That NFC South is not a competitive division. The Bills can afford to drop a few games, or the Buccaneers, excuse me, can afford to drop a few games, but the Bills, on the other hand, cannot. So I think that they're going to be playing a little bit more desperate than the Bucks. Josh Allen's going to take it into his hands and get the win. You never know, but also they lost this week to
Yeah,
like I don't even remember who they were playing. Like they're not a good team.
no,
So
really good.
I think the head-to-head matchups at the very least will keep
Yeah.
the Bucks above the Panthers here. But let's move on again to probably the biggest game of the week, Seahawks Rams, Joseph.
Oh,
I
bro.
cannot wait for this.
This, I, I'm going with the Rams just because I think Matthew Stafford is playing slightly better than Sam
Favorite for
Darnold.
MVP.
Yeah, he's been incredible. So Puka's going to be healthy in this game. Devontae Adams is absolutely going crazy, and Kyron Williams is being a consistent running back that he is all the time. And so I just trust Matthew Stafford. And I know I say that a lot on the show, but he's just such a consistent quarterback for you that he'll find a way to get points. And I think this is going to be a low scoring game because it's a division game. But it just comes down to in crunch time, who do you trust more, Darnold or Matthew Stafford? I trust Matthew Stafford a little bit more. So that's my only reasoning. I'm going with Stafford in this game because I like him over Darnold, but I like both teams a lot. I really don't know who to pick. The Seattle Seahawks can completely exploit this Rams defense for who they truly are, but I think even having said that, Matthew Stafford can still combat that in ways that the Seahawk fans are not going to like. So give me the Rams. I think they are better in this matchup always. History will repeat itself, and the Rams are going to win.
Yeah, these teams are so similar. It is weird. They're both top 10 in offensive and defensive EPA per play. They both are honestly pretty terrible at running the football. If you look at the numbers, they're like two of the best passing teams in the league and two of the worst. I think they're two of the worst rushing teams in the league. Like it is very strange how similar these teams are. I got the Seahawks in this one, partially because I'm a Seahawks fan. I feel like it's too close to pick against them here, but at the same time, I just think the defense for Seattle just gives them a leg up in this game. I do not trust the Rams defense, especially the secondary, the way I do Seattle's defense here. There's going to be some tough matchups, but I think that a guy like Tariq Woolen is one of those guys who, body wise, is one of the very few corners who matches up well with a guy like Puka Nakua. You're going to have Witherspoon on him as well, who's another just feisty physical corner. Like, I think that this defense is going to be able to make some plays. The defensive line has been playing out of their mind recently. I think that like we've seen the Seahawks get sloppy in the last few weeks here, but I also think that they've been getting up early and just trying to like I don't know, it's just like it's really hard to play good football when you're up that big. And I think it goes back to the Texans game, even the Commanders game, I think they weren't that sloppy, but the Cardinals game they were as well. So I think they're not going to be as sloppy as they have been offensively, but that defense, in my opinion, just gives them a leg up because I think that they're going to be able to get a stop when they need it. And I'm not sure if the Rams can, just because I do not trust that secondary. They do not have the guys in the secondary or even the linebacking core really to make a difference the way that Seattle does. All right, next game. Another huge game, Chiefs Broncos.
I'm going with the Chiefs just because the Broncos look absolutely pathetic against one of the worst defenses in the league against the Raiders, and they're my Packers. They're that how I feel about the Broncos is how Evan feels about the Packers. It's just I can't stand this team. Like J.K.
I'm
Dobbins,
getting there, man. I'm getting there. After that Thursday night game,
yeah,
God.
J.K. Dobbins probably missed a lot of weeks, and I just don't trust R.J. Harvey to be that number one. So they're gonna like throw the football a ton, and Bo Nix just is too inconsistent with the ball. So
Looks abs.
yeah, he's terrible, and he's not using Sutton to the best of his ability. So I think the Chiefs coming off the bye, they are pissed that they lost to the Bills. I think they come out with full vengeance, and I think Patrick Mahomes finds a way to win this game. And he loves playing the Broncos. He does such a good job against them, and I think he's going to use all his pass catchers. Patrick Surtain is not there to blanket Rasheed Rice, so I think he's going to go off for some big time plays. And I think they're going to run the football better with Pacheco. So give me the Chiefs. I think they have the better offense and they have the I don't want to say better defense, but it's closer now that Sertan is out. So yeah, give me the Chiefs.
I've got the Chiefs too, man. I just like this Broncos team. I don't think I can be their biggest fan anymore, man. I gotta move off it because holy, that Thursday night football game was actually one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life from a football perspective. It like very few games like actually make me angry, and I was so mad. Part of that was I did have Brock Bowers and Cortland Sutton in fantasy, and that was bad. It was a bad start to the week, but also like just like the worst performance you've ever seen from both sides of the football. And like the Raiders were terrible. They're always terrible, but the Broncos were just as bad. It was some pretty awful football. And I just like the Broncos to their credit, and I said this last week as well, is they're a team that just finds a way to win games. And they've done that time and time again this season, but like the clock strikes 12 at some point, and I think that this is one of those games where it's just not going to work out that way because the Chiefs haven't been good this year, but they've been a lot more consistent than the Broncos, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think that consistency will prevail in this scenario because you're right. These defenses are very close in a lot of ways. And I mean, the Broncos are also missing two key guys here in Sertan. Alex Singleton's also out indefinitely at the moment. And he's a guy who starts every single game for this Broncos team. So they're also missing a key linebacker there. So yeah, I don't see how the Broncos overcome this. And part of that is just I do not trust this offense to get yards at all. I love RJ Harvey. I actually think he's been great, and we haven't really seen him in a role with a ton of volume, but that's not my concern either. It's the passing game. Like Bo Nix is so inconsistent, and I just don't know how they're going to score points in this game. And I don't think they can have, or I just don't think that the Chiefs will let up 28 points in the fourth quarter like the Broncos have had in a couple games here. So I don't know, man. I hate to do it, but the Broncos are just not passing the eye test. I gotta step off the wagon here.
Damn. I hate to. That's the
I
crazy
know.
part.
And they lost
The
like
first 2 weeks,
last
yeah.
second to the Colts, and then they lost last second to the Chargers.
Yeah. 8 game win streak.
That's why they were 0-2.
Yeah, they
Holy crap, man. That's insane. Yeah, this is one it's such a weird team and I don't buy it. I can't buy in anymore.
me either.
All right. Next game here. At least one of the primetime games is interesting this week, Joseph. It is a pile of crap for the most part here, but Eagles Lions. This is an interesting game. My opinion on the Eagles has greatly trended downwards after that Monday Night Football game the other day.
Yeah. I really don't know what to pick. Come on. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hmm, man. I think think I'm gonna take the Eagles just because it's a safer bet. But then again, I don't trust anyone. I don't trust either of these teams. Like they played too inconsistent football for me where they have great games and then they have terrible games and it's just nothing in between. Like they're not consistent football teams. And for the majority of the time, they're playing elite football, but there's just 2 or 3 weeks in this season where it's like, what the hell are you doing? So I'm taking the Eagles just because I think they're better on paper. I think that Jared Goff is going to be, under duress from this defensive line. And I think that Jameer Gibbs is going to get shut down by Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis up the middle. And when Jameer Gibbs is shut down, he's their best offensive player. So I just think that once the run game is not established by the Lions, it's going to be terrible. And the run game has not been established by the Eagles for the majority of this year, but they find ways to still win and they find moments to still win. And Jalen Hurts looked terrible against the Packers, but that deep shot that he had to Devontae Smith was a beautiful throw,
It
and
was
that's all
enough.
he needed. And that was enough. So he just does what it takes to win, and I think that's the difference between these teams, and so that's why I'm taking the Eagles.
You know what's funny? So Bears could still win the NFC North. Like it's
Please.
that close. I mean, the Lions are still 6-3. It's just this Lions team is pissing me off, man. Like they keep losing to good teams and then they just go out and blow the doors off bad teams and it's like I don't know what to do with you. Like I
Yeah.
don't think you're good enough to be one of the best teams, but also your like point differential's insane and you keep having these insane games against like inferior opponents,
Yeah.
but then like you lose to the Chiefs, you lose to the Vikings, like it's just a weird team to me. And I've got the Eagles in this one too, just because like the other thing is the Lions again, unfortunately, are horrendously injured right now, especially on defense, primarily on defense. Their offense is fine, but it's the same thing as last year. They just have so many injuries on defense. They might be getting some reinforcements back soon, but at the same time, like DJ Reed's still out, Kirby Joseph is still out. Aiden Hutchinson didn't practice today. I think he'll play, but still. Marcus Davenport might be coming back this week, so they're getting a bit of help. But at the same time, like they're so depleted, especially in the secondary. Like I feel like Philadelphia is just going to be able to move the ball enough, and I feel like the Lions just they have not been good on offense against good teams. So I need to see it from the Lions before I can pick them here. I want them to win this game, but I've got the Eagles just because I think that they're like the Eagles defense is still as good as it was last year, and then the offense is inconsistent. But this is a team, or this Lions defense is a defense where the Eagles will be able to move the football, I think. All right, last game here. Cowboys Raiders. Monday Night Football, Joseph. Lucky
Yeah.
us.
The Cowboys just played a Monday Night Football game. Why do we get
Against
them
the
again?
Cardinals. What is
Oh my
happening?
gosh, who makes these schedules? Anyways, I'm taking the Raiders. Screw it, man. I don't care at this point. I mean, we got nothing to lose here. The Raiders do, so take the Raiders pretty comfortably. And yeah, I just think that the Raiders can keep up with the Cowboys. I think Ashton Genty can go off for some big time yards. I think Brock Bowers is going to go off for 200
I
yards.
hope so, man.
So think it's going to be back and forth, an offensive shootout, but give me the Raiders because why not? Got nothing to lose, and I think the Cowboys just completely suck, and it'll just pour salt in the wound for Jerry and those boys.
It would be nice. It would be really funny after trading for Quinnen Williams to lose to the Raiders in prime time. I have the Cowboys. I just think that the Raiders might be able to put up some points in this game, but this Raiders defense is also terrible. Like I think that the Cowboys are going to be able to move the football. CD Lamb probably will have a big game. Hopefully Brock Bowers will on the other side, but like watching Geno Smith play football right now is like makes me want to like pull my eyes out. Like it's like scoop them out with a spoon. It's actually awful. It is impressively bad. Like he cannot make a decision. He cannot throw a pass accurately. Like the turnovers are ridiculous. Like it's just absurd. And like I just don't see that. Like yes, the Cowboys suck, but it doesn't even seem like you need a good defense for Geno Smith to do this stuff. So I've got the Cowboys because I feel like Geno Smith is going to shoot himself in the foot like 4 times in this game, and the Cowboys will get the win. All right, 2 more segments here, Joseph. We're almost done. Balls of Steel lock of the week. I've got a 2 game lead on you right
Oh
now,
my
Joseph.
gosh. The loser record is terrible. I
I
don't
think
know how
we
to pick
both had
these
a
games.
losing record last year too, so we're not very good at this.
Dolphins. I just think that the Commanders are going into Madrid with an opponent who plays terrible on the international stage and on the road. And so I think it's going to be uncomfortable territory for the Dolphins, and they're just in complete shambles. And I don't think that they'll repeat the performance that they did on a consistent basis like they did last week against the Bills. So give me the Commanders. I think they're the better coach team, and that's why they're going to get the win.
Yeah, I do like the fact that even if some of these games are between teams that really have no like significance this season, they're at least close games. They're interesting.
Yes.
Except none of the interesting games are on prime time. But you know what? I don't know. The schedule makers. Sometimes they're good. Like I get it. Like the Chiefs Commanders game, it ended up being terrible, but that was like Jane Daniels being injured.
Yeah.
That would have been going into the season an interesting primetime game. But it's like Cowboys Raiders. Who the hell wanted to watch that in primetime? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm getting distracted. I'm too heated on the primetime thing right now. But I've got the Seahawks over the Rams. Um, this got to be. I got to take my team this week. This is the best they've maybe ever looked in my fandom, especially in the lifetime of this podcast. So I've got to roll with them.
It's a back-to-back Super Bowls when you watched.
No, I wasn't really an NFL fan
Oh,
when that
really?
happened. No,
Oh, wow.
so that was like baby NFL fandom. I wasn't really a fan then.
I did
So
not.
yeah, it was like slightly before my time. I
Okay.
wasn't really a big football guy then. So,
Okay.
yeah. No, even those like Russell Wilson teams where they won 11 games in
Okay.
back-to-back
That
years,
makes
I
sense.
I would say they're better
I
than that
agree.
those
I
teams,
agree with
especially
that.
on defense. So, this is the best they've looked at the very least in a very long time in my opinion, and I like this is one of the most evenly matched two teams I've ever seen, and I've got my Seahawks in this one. I think that defense gives them that edge.
Spicy.
All right. Let's move on to our top 5 best balls, Joseph. Who do you got?
The Eagles, and they look terrible against the Packers, but they found a way to win. And Saquon looks bad, and Jalen Hurts kind of looks bad, but Jalen Hurts plays good in moments. And this defense looks absolutely unstoppable. Vic Fangio has them playing so good. So they're still number 5 to me. They got the win, and they have a very good record. Number 4, I got the Seattle Seahawks. I just, I love them. They're a complete football team. Defensively, they're incredible. Running the football is a bit of a concern, but when you have the offensive player of the year in Jackson Smith and Jigba, the sky's the limit for them. So Sam Darnold is playing out of his mind. JSN is a true number 1, and you can't double him because he's playing out of the slot. So it, it's just an unstoppable force offensively and defensively, and they're one of the best teams in the league. Number 3, I got the Rams. I have them slightly ahead of the Seahawks just because of Matt Stafford. He's playing absolute perfect football, and these, like Evan said, are two very similar teams. I just think that they have the edge at quarterback, and they have the offensive weapons. They have a better number 2 wide receiver, in my opinion, in Devonte Adams, and I like Rashid Shaheed and how they got him, but nothing close to Devonte. Number 2, I got the New England Patriots. They have the best quarterback in football, in my opinion, in Drake May right now in the 2025 season. The sky is the limit. Stephon Diggs is cementing himself as an alpha wide receiver 1. He doesn't have the juice that he used to, but he's a possession wide receiver that's a safety blanket for May, and he's just utilizing that to the best of his advantage. And Travion is back in a big way. And then number 1, I have the Indianapolis Colts, arguably the best player in all of football, and Jonathan Taylor right now. You have Daniel Jones just really benefiting from Jonathan Taylor, utilizing him off the play action and then hitting the deep shot. Two guys like Alex Pierce and Josh Downs and Michael Pittman. So, yeah, this is a complete football team, and Cam Bynum had a crazy fumble that we didn't talk about against Michael Penix that, really shifted the momentum of this game in Berlin. So, yeah, they're a complete football team defensively and offensively, and that's why they're the best team in football still.
I like it. All right. For me at 5, I have the Eagles. Like you said, Joseph, they're inconsistent, especially offensively, but they find a way to win. They're the Super Bowl champions last year, and that defense, I think, is still playing at a super, super high level, and that just gives them a high floor. Their offense does what it needs to do to win, and they're gonna figure it out, man. They have the guys. It's gonna come together. I just have a feeling. Number 4 is the Patriots. I've kept them out a little bit, but at this point, they've checked all the boxes. There's not really anything else that they need to prove to me at this point. The run game's coming along. Drake May is playing at an MVP level, and Mike Vrabel gets the best out of that defense. Number three for me is the Rams. I love what I've seen from them so far. Again, another MVP candidate, quarterback in Matt Stafford. It's just that secondary that scares me, especially against better teams. If that pass rush can't get there, I just don't know what like it's gonna be. And they can keep up offensively, but at the same time, like that secondary could really be their downfall in my opinion. And then number two, I have the Seahawks. I just that defense gives me that edge over the Rams. They're very close. They're very similar teams. I love what the Seahawks are doing offensively. Sam Darnold is playing great football. Clint Kubiak is scheming up great things. They're doing a lot fantastically offensively, but it's just that defense for me, man. That defense just gives them that next level floor. They have playmakers at every level. The defensive line is insane. You can't run the football in this team. Like I love what I've seen from this team, and they're my favorite team. So I'm gonna give them a little bit of a boost potentially over a team like the Rams when they're that close. Number one, though, is still the Colts. I mean, this offense is just unstoppable. The run game is unstoppable. Daniel Jones is playing. No, they're on bye this week. So we'll see what happens next week. But for me, the defense is playing great when they need to. I honestly think Sauce Gardner will be very good in this defense. I mean, it's tough to turn around, play in Germany after of training basically with your new team. So give him some time. I think he'll be great, especially come playoff time. But this Colts team just feels unstoppable in the AFC at the moment. All right, Joseph, that does it for this episode of the Ball Watchers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Ball Watchers Pod. Follow us on YouTube. We live stream every single episode of the podcast over there at Ball Watchers. So, yeah, we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. Thank you for listening and